You ready for part two, or you have something else you want to say?
Oh, I'm just thinking about the fact we actually might hear this all the way into April. Ugh, I shake and shiver on that. But besides that, yes, roll that beautiful bean footage.
Unless they make the portal in May, which I've said before, to kind of match up with the academic calendar, change spring practice till after that.
So, Mr. Johnson, reason why I didn't go into what you were saying on Monday about Porter is because I knew I had this coming up. So, go ahead.
I figured you would. Well, the coach went onward to say, quote, unless they make the portal in May to match up with the academic calendar, move spring practice to after that. Close quote.
Now, before you chime in off the Nick Saban, can you give our football fans the perspective that you had on Monday, and then you go into what Nick Saban said?
I just find this to be ridiculous because you have this system and they don't know what they're doing with it. And why would you actually have this system going on for both basketball and football during its seasons? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Do it to the point where there is no activity or the least amount of activity in your sports calendar. And correct me if I'm wrong, sir, for both basketball and football, that would be late spring and in the summer. So if you're going to do the portal, you have to do it then. Otherwise, it's going to be an absolute quagmire of a mess if you do it during basketball season or if you do it during football season or if you do it during both.
He picked your favorite month to do it.
Well, May is not my favorite month. It's one of them, though. But yeah,
you know what I meant.
I do. You meant spring, but yeah, I again do that when you have the freedom to tweak, contort, actually oversee all of the action there is. How can you know what's going on in the transfer portal and you're doing this in the middle of your regulars or middle of your season? I mean, I think I get what they were trying to do. Them greedy fools in Indianapolis. I think they were trying to do the NCAA version of the trade deadline that we have in NBA and we have in Major League Baseball and we have in NFL and we have in NHL. I think that's what they wanted this transfer portal to be, and it's a disaster. It's a disaster, as they say in New York. It's a mess.
You have
So that's what you do
4,000 football players in the transfer portal. You have
now.
over 150
Now,
starters in the transfer
now,
portal.
now, and that's the thing. You have them in the transfer portal now. How much sense does that make? January, and they were being in there in December. How can you do this during the season?
And another thing to add to it, which one of the other reasons why Coach Saban said this is because coaches. There are coaches from Ole Miss that's going to LSU.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them that decided after the quarterfinal game to stay at LSU and not join them for the semifinals. The offensive coordinator, Wise Jr., he's with Ole Miss for the semifinals game. That's another problem when it comes to the portal because most of the reason why these student athletes are in the portal is because their coaches have left.
Yeah, the coaches from the old program are going to the new programs, and it's quite well, no, we already know this is going down. Recruitment from within is happening.
Same thing with Oregon.
You go on my new team, I guarantee your roster spot. You know that's what they're saying.
Same thing with Oregon. Dan Lanning, he's losing some people from his coaching staff to new jobs. And guess what they're doing?
Yep. Actively recruiting when they go. Oh,
and guess who's in the semifinals too?
Mm-hmm. Oh, and another thing, Lemming. We do not need the CFP to end on New Year's Day. Shut it up.
That's a topic for another day.
I know it is, but I need to get that off my chest and aim it at the lemming.
And then one of the most, may I speak for you, sir?
Go ahead, sir.
And probably one of the most annoying things that it comes to the transfer portal that me and my co-host hate the most when it comes to the players. Just because you didn't get the result that you were looking for, don't mean you need to go in the portal.
Go to portal again. I actually wouldn't mind if they did have a rule instituted. I would be of the ilk of you only get one time in the transfer portal in your eligibility. One. Not one a year. Not one a semester. One. So you better make that transfer to the school you want to go to work.
I like that. Actually, I like that. That's a great idea.
If not, you screwed.
Not only that, work on your craft.
Isn't that what we're supposed to do anyway?
Have you not seen this generation lately? And I did not try to sound like Stephen Smith when I did that.
I know. And you're more immersed in it than I am. And yes, I have. And just like what we had, just like we in Generation X had to learn, you Gen Zers, you're going to have to learn too. One of these days, you're going to have to get them nails dirty, get that work ethic in, build it up, and actually do something with what the hard work has garnered you. And yes, I'm looking at you two, Generation Alpha. You got to do the same thing. Hard work gets you where you got to go. I don't care how brilliant you are. I don't care how smart you try to work.
There's a saying. Let me think of the saying. I think it goes on the lines of teamwork makes the dream work. No, that's not it.
That's one of them, but it's not appropriate.
No, that's not the one I'm looking for. All for one for all. That's not it either.
Oh, there's no I in team.
That's not it either, but I like that one. Hard work beats talent any given day.
Yep. And just because you have talent doesn't mean that you are guaranteed a spot. I don't care if you're talking about football or life.
You can be the most talented player, but somebody not as talented can outwork the brakes off you and they get the opportunity.
Give it some time. The harder working person will win. I don't care who you are, man, woman, or child. I don't care who you are, boy, girl, it doesn't matter. The harder worker, you give it enough time, the harder worker is going to win out. Now, be smart and learn how to and learn the ways, and then have that work ethic along with the brilliance. You're good. You're golden.
Matter of fact, I'm glad this is a football show we're talking about here. Mr. Johnson, I'm going to bring up a wide receiver who played at the University of Utah. Had a stellar career in the NFL playing for the Carolina Panthers and the Baltimore Ravens.
Yes, he did.
He was not the most gifted guy in the goddamn league.
He wasn't gifted when he retired.
But you know his name very well.
Steve Smith Sr. He was not the most gifted, although he had gifts and he did have talent. He had a lot of talent. But would you call him a Randy Moss figure? No, because Randy Moss was blessed with them wide receiver gifts. Not Steve Smith. But that hard work ethic, whoa! No man on that field, I don't care what position you played, the other 21 men on the field, including the quarterback, including the middle linebacker, was not going to outwork him on every single play.
Matter of fact, let me do a current team. Let me do a former player, but from a current team that's in the playoffs. Let's go down to Miami. Here's a name that doesn't get mentioned a lot, but those who know their football knowledge. Coach Johnson, when I say Anquan Bolden, what comes to mind?
an absolute dog. What I love about him is he knew what he had to offer. He had a body. He was not the fastest, but he could get down. He didn't leap the highest, but if you give him a 50-50 ball, he'll get it. He wasn't the best route runner, but he could run every route in the route tree. All you had to do is just put the ball in the air. You just ask one Mr. Joe Flacco. Just put the ball in the air, and he wore 81 most of the time. Number 81 would go and get it. Whether he had to dive for it, leap for it, push somebody out, and he did have strength, or push somebody off to get the ball. However he was going to receive whatever pass you threw him, he was going to do it. And the man was not afraid to block in run situations either.
Matter of fact, maybe Eugene's is like, I don't know. I see Steve Smith. He just talk football. I don't know. I ain't seen him play. I ain't gonna watch his highlights. Oh, I never heard of him. Combo. Well, let me give you somebody I know you heard of. And matter of fact, I ain't not even doing this because he played for my team. But Mr. Johnson, there was a man that Cam Newton admired, and he didn't blame him for the reason why he didn't get to play at the University of Florida. But he saw what this man was about. And he took something from him.
You talking about
with him to Auburn?
You talking about number 15?
Yes, number 15. You know, one of the in most Gator nations, one of the greatest Gators to ever put on a uniform.
Forget Gators. He's one of the greatest college football players to ever put on a uniform. And I'm saying this not as a Gator fan.
I was being modest, but
I know you were.
Tim Tebow. You and everybody else, including Stephen A. would be the first to say Tim Tebow was not a great quarterback.
No.
But what was he, though?
He was a great worker. And at least on the college level, he knew what his team needed when his team needed it. He needed to scramble for a first down. It was third and long, and he couldn't throw the ball. He could run for that first down. If it was a throw that you needed to go deep, he'd give you that throw. If you needed him to actually resort to being like a fullback, he'll throw blocks and hit whoever was trying to tackle him, like he was actually a running back or a fullback. Tebow did whatever it took to get the job done. Oh, and you would know this better than me, Playmaker. In the time he started, which was 3 years, he won 2 chips.
And
not the most talented college quarterback I've ever seen, but he definitely is one of the most successful, and 2, one of the hardest working college football quarterbacks I've ever seen. That dude had a will to win that would pretty much rival Tom Brady in terms of how he did in college.
And you know, everybody wanted to say they like to bring up one of your great quarterbacks at your favorite school, Vince Young.
Yeah.
And they like to bring up other quarterbacks, but the thing is, what most people on the outside looking in didn't realize, or those who didn't want to look and realize, as you said, Tim Tebow was a worker. Yeah. Tim Tebow was a leader.
The dude actually worked out. He worked out with the linebackers. That's how wired he was. He didn't think of himself as higher than the rest of the team. He was one of those I will set being a leader by example types. And he outworked everybody on the field, similar to Steve Smith. He had the mentality of, and you remember the speech he gave after the Ole Miss L that led them to their first championship.
Which pretty much let everybody realize, oh man, this guy's so enjoyable. Yes, that's the guy right there.
Yeah.
Too bad he's in Gainesville.
You had no choice after that post-game press conference to say, so this dude is the unquestioned leader of the Gators. Oh, and if those words are true, that chip is theirs.
How we finished the season?
And I'm about to say, in 3 months later, they were hoisting the chip.
Ironically, guess who that loss came to?
Ole Miss.
At home
to Ole Miss. Mm-hmm.
So I don't care how talented you are. The coaches don't care how talented you are. If you ain't putting in that work, they
You'll
can
be
care
riding
less.
that pine. Yeah, you're riding that pine.
This ain't high school. This ain't middle school. They don't care about your talent.
No,
They recruit you for your talent, but they want to
yeah.
see, are you gonna put in that work? Because there are other guys that are just as talented as you that we're recruiting as well.
Mm-hmm. And they will outwork you, and the coaches know it. The thing is, you got to know it, and how you would know it, you got to make sure that you rise up your level of work ethic to match theirs, if not exceed it.
So that's that. Speaking of that, how you feel about moving spring practice to after the transfer portal in May? If the NCAA is smart enough to do it.
I personally like it. Here's the issue that I see with it, though. You're going to hear the NCAA try to baby these athletes and say, well, you can't do this at the hottest time of the year. That's not right. It's not fair. No, these poor young pups, they don't need to be out in that sweltering summer heat. Don't do that to them. Shut up. You already have the stupid week 0 in the summer.
Hold on. I thought what you just said. Um, I'm real playing here because that's based on what you said. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, when do y'all start the season?
Season now normally starts what 2 weekends before Labor Day.
So end of August. When does NFL season start?
NFL season starts normally, the regular season normally starts the Thursday after Labor Day.
So y'all already on the same wavelength with the NFL, right? Why don't you just make the all season the same?
But again, that makes too much sense because our pups are delicate. We're dealing with ballerinas for football players. They're not rough and tumble like the NFL players.
And you know who I
We
got that?
can't
And
do that.
you know how Ryan is. You know who I got that from?
Hmm.
What's the man on the screen name is?
Yeah, one Mr. Saban.
I got it from Nick Saban.
I don't disagree
Pretty
with
much
him.
line up your off season along with the NFL because you already lined up your regular season with the NFL.
I don't have a problem with it. I personally do not have a problem with it.
And guess what? You know what else Nick Saban said after that? You ain't got to worry about all this chaos that you got going on right now. Everybody has done. Everybody's finished their season. And number 2, spring semester is over. You're getting ready
Yeah.
for summer semester.
By the time normally most schools, by the time you get to Mother's Day, school's over. Normally about then. You still have some that'll still have commencement ceremonies that'll be all the way until Memorial Day and maybe even into the first week in June. But in terms of school workload, most colleges, they're done by Labor Day.
Mother's Day, you mean not Labor Day?
I'm sorry, Mother's Day. Thank you. They're normally done by Mother's Day.
So guess what? There's no chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Coaches ain't leaving. They don't have to rush to, all right, I need to hurry and get here, and I got to go ahead and start recruiting and see what type of NIL money that I got to use and all this other stuff and see who's in the trend. If you push it to May, guess what? What was the key thing you was looking for Monday? Smooth?
A smooth transition. And the way the portal is working now, there is no way you can have a smooth transition. How are you going to put a 18 to 22-year-old that uses this portal into a system and you're running it in the middle of the season?
And if you're ready for number 3, because I know I am, I think number 3 is going to be the one that gets Coach Johnson.
Drop it.
The NCAA doesn't seem to be in control of the way things are happening right now. And I think if we're going to change things in college football, we've got to get Congress to have some kind of antitrust legislation because the NCAA can't enforce their own rules. So even if they tried to change this, somebody might sue them.
I heard that. I say, yep, Cole Johnson's gonna eat this alive. Oh, and for Nick Saban to put that out there, oh, this is all Cole Johnson. So, my fact, sir, I'm just gonna leave the screen. I'm just gonna give you the screen along with Nick Saban. Okay.
All right. So you heard the ban, but I will give you the quote that really stuck out. Quote, the NCAA doesn't seem to be in control of the way things are happening right now. Ellipses. The NCAA can't enforce their own rules. Close quote. Now, what did I say in point number one? So it's not just me that's believing it. You got a guy who is a surefire college football Hall of Famer. It's a no-brainer. He's going to be a college football Hall of Famer. Saying this, one of the greatest head coaches of all time, the greatest college football coach of this era, saying that. I can't agree more with what he's saying from the standpoint of you got the blind leading the blind. Now, do I think they have to go so far as to involve the government for it? No. But it just goes to show how inept the NCAA is, that you have a one of the most winningest personalities that exists in today's college football's landscape to actually say, big brother, help us out. We don't know how to police ourselves because we have no clue as to what we're doing. That is how pitiful you are, NCAA. See, this is when you all are so busy looking for the bag that you forget how to control your entity. This point right here, and you have probably one of your biggest cheerleaders saying this about you. And I'm glad that the ESPN did not decide to say, shh, no, Nick, don't say that. I'm glad they let him say it because it's the absolute truth. You all are so busy saying to yourselves, well, how can we get a hold of that NIL deal money? You know, these athletes, how dare they actually have the temerity to make money on their own? We got to find a way to make money. And then you got old Charlie Blake on this end, the president of the doggone NCAA, saying, we're going to let the collegiate athletes actually bet. But we're not going to have the bet on college football and basketball and other sports in the collegiate realm. We're going to allow them to bet on the professional leagues.
And 30 weeks later,
the NCAA is actually going to rescind doing that. I mean, and in between that 3-week span, you had one scandal after another scandal after another scandal after another scandal, which basically undermined why you should even open that Pandora's box, because you had those players not just bet on college football and basketball games, but you had them try to fix them. You all are so worried, NCAA, about having your hand in the cookie jar, you forget that you got to actually run the logistics of your entity. And to actually have Nick Saban say this on national television, in public, if you will, I think it's absolutely brilliant. Nick, I've always had respect for you, but you now are one of my favorite. You now have vaulted. You have now actually stepped up to be one of my favorite personalities in college football, even more than Paul Feinbaum. I love what you're saying. I love where you're going with it. I love exactly how you said it. The only problem I have with what you said is you introduce another type of Pandora's box in having the government be involved in your affairs. So I don't know if you want to have the government actually put forth antitrust laws to basically tell the NCAA, this is how you're supposed to run your stuff, because that sounds sort of rather socialist-ish. And, well, people know right now how we all feel about anybody who claims to be a socialist, don't we, conservatives? You don't want to have anything conservative. I mean, you don't want to have anything to be dictated by the government. No, you want the government to have no hand in it. So I get why you say that, because the NCAA needs all the help it can get. The only problem, though, with that is the NCAA, and you know this a lot better than we all do, they want the money. And they want to get the money, and they still are trying to find a way, even though they're making money hand over fist now, they're still trying to find a way to make even more money. Because, yes, this is the richest part of the sports calendar, even richer than the Final Four. Right now, this period right here from mid-December to mid-January is the richest time in the NCAA sports calendar. And they still are trying to find a way to make even more money than they can now. But, Nick, you called it out perfectly. I mean, chef's kiss to you, sir. The blind is leading the blind, sir. And if you actually have to lower yourselves to ask for governmental assistance, that just shows right there how inept the National Collegiate of Associates of Athletes actually are.
I knew it. As soon as I heard, I said, "Oh, that's Coach Johnson all day, right there." Oh, that's Coach Johnson all day. I ain't even gonna touch that.
So you know, so now, well, I know
because remember you kept asking a certain question. I'm like, I'll wait to Wednesday for that.
And you know this already about me. People thinking that I just have this axe to grind by the NCAA because it's all blind and it has no focus. No. Like what Nick Saban said, that's the exact reason why I have a salty taste in my mouth when it comes to anything governing bodied NCAA, because you have that take out there that's said by one of the most successful head coaches of any sport in college.
Now, for those of you who want clarity, he's not saying Nick Saban is wrong.
No, no, I'm not saying Nick Saban is wrong. In fact, I agree with why he said it. I agree with every bit of why he said it.
It was the last part for me. They can't enforce their own rules because if they do, they'll get sued. I'm like, how is that even possible? And it's your rules.
It just goes to show the ineptitude of the NCAA. I'm like, this is beautiful.
You get sued for enforcing your own rules.
I'm like, this is beautiful. One of the most successful college football coaches of all time calls out the hypocrisy of the NCAA, and I am just loving it. I mean, I am Terrell Owens. Give me the popcorn. I mean it right now.
That's basically me telling Coach Johnson, you can't talk about football on the show. It's my rules, and he's suing me for it.
Basically,
and he can get away with it too, even though it's my rule. That kind of NCAA. How do you make the impossible possible?
That's the NCAA for you.
This is our set of rules, but we can't enforce it because we
can't enforce a thing on it. and it makes sense. And we're so lost in the weeds and can't enforce it. It's quite possible we might need Washington's help to have us enforce it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is sad.
Here's our rules. Page 10. Or those of you who are looking on the computer, document H. These are the rules, but we can't enforce them. What?
Oh boy.
What? This is the rules, and you can't enforce them? So why are we even looking at this?
Straight Wild West. You got rules and you can't enforce them. This is
and by the way, if they enforce them, you can sue them. What?
They got rules you can't enforce. I'm like, this is NCAA gold right here.
Do you know how a meeting like that would go? So one, you have rules, which you should have because you're a business, you're an entity, whatever you want to call yourself. We understand that.
I think that's the problem right there.
Number two, you can't enforce them. So you have rules, but you can't enforce them. And then three, we can sue you if you enforce your own rules.
You hit the nail on the head as to the problem. They don't want to consider themselves a business. They want to consider themselves a nonprofit. But if they were to consider themselves a business, they actually would have the ability to enforce their rules a whole lot harder.
Oh my God, this is this.
But only the NCAA. You can't have this problem at any other place in sports. It is impossible. Even the NHL, which they were about to go under, even they can enforce rules within their own entity. The problem that I foresee with having any type of enforcement whatsoever from the government is that you're going to have government officials officiate or cloud the judgment of or impede the progress that you all have made as the NCAA entity that you are now. It'd be like Captain Phillips, where you had the Somali pirate come up to the board and look at Captain Phillips and says, "I'm the captain now." Basically, that's what the government's going to be saying to you in Indianapolis. Washington's the captain now. But you did it yourselves. You did it yourselves. You put yourselves in the position to where you are just creating these rules, and it's like, I don't know, it's like Tinkerbell. You all just are flighty individuals. You just say whatever it is you have to say. You put things out there for it to be enforced, and you can't enforce them because it could disappear just like that, or it could be infringed just like that, or it could be usurped just like that. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And if you weren't so concerned about money, you would have no issue with the transfer portal. Do the right thing. Put that thing in the summer. And yeah, I agree with moving practice in the summer too. These are young men. You can't baby them. Most of them want to actually step on the field on a Sunday. So if they want to step on the field on Sunday, give them a crash course as to how it's going to be a few years before. I mean, I agree with Saban. If you're going to mirror some of what the NFL schedule does, mirror it all the way, except for having OTAs and mini camps in June. Not saying that, but training camp starts in July for the NFL. You already, to a degree, start practicing in July anyway. Why don't you continue that and actually have it be vocalized? This is the college football season. I mean, heck, you keep pushing earlier and early the college basketball season, and you keep pushing further and early the college football season. I mean, we have this ridiculous week 0, 2 weeks before Labor Day. I'm just waiting for week. I'm just waiting for week -1, 3 weeks before it, because I know it's coming. Do right by these athletes. That is the bottom line here, NCAA. Do right by them, because you can't do right by them if you're basically going to say this transfer portal stuff is nonsense. We don't give a crap about it. And yeah, you can just head in there. You can just do what you do. You go to the school you want, and you're good. Have it be more organized than it is, and you won't ever have it organized during the school season. And that goes for basketball too. You can't have it during the season. Have it at a time where it's least active, and you won't have this problem. But you're the NCAA. Unfortunately, you doofuses want these problems. You know, there was a tag team in the in WWE called the Street Profits, and they had a saying: "We want the smoke." Well, it looks like NCAA, when it comes to all the bad publicity and all of the gaffes and all of the mismanagement that you all are known to have been doing for decades and decades and decades on end, it looks like the Street Profits should not have been one with this slogan. It should have been you, because it looks like that you, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, 366 if it's a leap year, want all the smoke.